Leave the first time they lash out at you. Leave the first time they lie. Leave the first time they're evasive about reasonable questions.
Ladies, normalize leaving the very first time they lie, the very first time they cheat, the very first time they lash at you, the very first time they betray you, the very first time they, do so many things that you cannot take, cannot tolerate. Normalize leaving the very, very first time they do something like that to you. Because you know what? They don't change. I saw this video and decided to share with you all today. Let's go ahead and watch this video to the end, and I'm back to share my thoughts at the end of the video.
Leave the first time they lash out at you. Leave the first time they lie. Leave the first time they're evasive about reasonable questions. Leave the first time they make a racist, homophobic, or misogynistic comment. Leave the first time they put down people who go to therapy. Leave the first time they behave badly and blame you or other people for why they had to behave that way. Get more excited about leaving people who are not healthy for you. People tend to behave their best at the beginning and things only get worse from there. So it's what happens in the beginning is a preview of what's coming. A little bit of evasiveness, a little bit of lying, a little bit of blaming people and refusing to take responsibility at the beginning is like an avalanche later that's going to turn into a just dump truck of dysfunction later on. And you can avoid that. The issue is that we tend to pick people where we can reenact the dysfunctional dynamics of our families to try to get it better this time. But part of being a good adult and protector to yourself is to bear hug the young part of you, that little like koala self that just wants to grab onto a familiar tree, and bear hug them and be like, honey, we're not doing that anymore. And march yourself off into therapy and a healing process so that you can change the inner dynamics that have made you drawn to these people. And so you're not drawn to them anymore. But in the meantime, you got to learn how to throw the fish back in the river. And instead of seeing red flags as an invitation to try harder, you actually get that they mean red flag means stop, and that you pull over and leave the situation. Now, all of us are taught to try harder. But if you have to ask someone for honesty, it already isn't going to be honest, because people who are honest operate from that level of forthrightness all the time. You don't have to ask them for it. If you have to ask someone for maturity, you're saying, I don't like the level of maturity you're at, but we're all just at whatever level of awareness we have. So what you're saying is that I see who you are and I don't like it and I wish you'd try to change. And that's going right back to childhood. Your adult self is going to see things for what they are and be like, is this healthy for me or not? And I'm telling you, it is healthy as fuck to have some deal breakers. Women are taught not to. We're taught to give a million chances and turn the other cheek and see the best in people. And that's how you stay trapped in shitty relationships that will suck the life out of you. Trust me, I know it. So get some deal breakers from your adult self. Now, your child little koala self, she's not going to want to listen to any of that. She's going to have a big tantrum. But part of being an adult is making adult choices, recognizing the red flags and walking away when they're not healthy for you. Get some deal breakers. Get excited about throwing unworthy fish back in the river.
I 100% agree with what she said, you all, because I feel like in the very beginning of a relationship, everybody's trying to make things work. Everybody's trying to be their best behavior. So in the very beginning of the relationship, and they already started doing something that you cannot take later on in the relationship, just leave, right? Set your boundaries. Have something you cannot take and you just, what, I cannot take this and that is it. Leave. Because at the end of the day, if you kind of interview people that were in 10 years, 20 years relationship and ask them, okay, why did you leave your partner? What do you think that they do? You end up seeing them say that these are the, things that this person keep doing, although it is not a new thing. It is something that they know that he or she was doing before, and they be like, okay, probably it's going to change, probably things might get better, probably actually give him another chance, right? So you keep trying to give some people another chance, not knowing that that is exactly what they are. So what you cannot take, if it's given to you, if it's being pushed to you in the beginning of a relationship, there's no point continuing the relationship, right? Because that thing you don't like in the beginning of the relationship will be the reason why you're leaving later on in the relationship. So why waste your time? Why waste your energy? Why waste your effort trying to build something that is not going to work eventually, right? I went to the comment section and a lot of people were kind of relating to this post. And let's go ahead and, hear what other people have to say. But then I'd like to know your thoughts about this video down in the comment section. Why do you think, or do you think people should leave with the first instant, or you think people deserve second chance? Let me know your thought down in the comment section respectfully. Marie said, leave the second it makes you cry and it doesn't absolutely shatter his heart to see you in pain. Yes, some of them, narcissist men, they enjoy seeing you cry. They enjoy making you sad. In fact, when you're crying, they start gaslighting you and telling you, why are you crying, you're overreacting, and da. So when things are happening at that point, just know that it continues. It doesn't change. The next time you cry, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, and that is it. So the very first time they see you cry and they don't feel anything, leave. Okay? Erica said, leave the first time they get weird about their phone. If you're the kind of person like you're very open with your phone and your partner is not, and the very first time you want to touch their phone and they're like, my phone is my privacy, just leave. Because at the end of the day, the phone is going to cause problem later in the relationship, later in the marriage, when both of you get too close or, too intimate. The phone is going to be the problem. I leave so early now, I don't even say hi. That's Morgan. Just leave when they blink. Someone said this needs to broadcast in high schools and college. I feel like this kind of advice should be given to people that just want to start relationship. I feel like this kind of advice, I wish even me had known this kind of thing while I was dating or when I started dating, that we are supposed to leave at the very first red flag. But we women were not taught that way. We are taught to give men second chance. We are taught to endure. We are taught to overlook things. We are taught to, try to just, things can work out. Just try to tell us that, oh, no, it's not always like that. You're overreacting. Like, they make you feel like you're the problem why things like that are happening. So I feel like this kind of advice would be suitable for people that are just starting to date, people that are in high school, people that are just, young girls that are just starting to be in a relationship. Scripty said, leave when they come on strong in the beginning and try to fast track the relationship. It's not the same as love bombing. It's a different red flag. We all know the one we just discussed by Arena farm woman, where her husband was just fast tracking things that she didn't even wanted to get married at that point, but he rushed her. You can see the way her life turned out. So it's always a red flag when they try to rush you into a committed relationship. Sort of agree. Everyone has toxic traits and has ignorance to grow from though. There's a specific line that should be drawn and it can be hard to tell in the moment. True. Always have boundaries. Leave the first time they playfully slap you across the face. It's not playfully, it will get worse. There's a time that sometimes when some jokes are very expensive, some of the time when somebody say something and tell you, oh, I'm just joking, most of the time they mean exactly what they said at the very beginning. It was not a joke. It's just because you didn't find it funny, you just had to say that statement, I was just joking. Leave when you're at a party and someone compliments how lovely your wife is and your husband says you can have her and laugh. Took me way too long to understand this. Don't waste your time with potential or half-assed unhealthy relationship. It won't get you anywhere. I'm 65 years old now. I wish I knew that when I was 13 years old. Exactly what I said. Leave the very first time it pranks you, humiliates you in front of others, hurts your feelings and won't apologize, but replies you are too sensitive and it was just a joke. Looking back on different relationships, I can clearly see what I did wrong and when I should have left. Never beg anyone to love you or stay, and never put up option. she's my mother. It's difficult to live and still have relationship with my family members. Well, we know that we're talking about relationship with man and woman, but then this can happen between friends and also family members. But then I feel like most of the time, man and woman relationship, when it comes to you being in a relationship with man, when you just cite that red flag, especially red flag you know you cannot continue with, it's not something that you have to compromise or something like, oh, I'll see if I can live with it. No, the moment you don't like something and you clear it out and you see that they are doing it to you, just leave, because they will not change. That is what you're going to be dealing with for the rest of the relationship, and it's not worth it, because at the end of the day you regret why you did not leave the very first time. So this is like an advice to young girls, even older women that are in a relationship now. What is your take? Because what would you say? Would you advise younger girls that are going into relationship or going into dating now to always leave by very first red flag, or they should always try to give second chance because people are not perfect? For me, I would say leave at very first red flag because at the end of the day, right, you will still leave because of that very first red flag. So if you are still going to leave the relationship because of that very first red flag, why didn't you not leave immediately when they give you that red flag, right? Because I've seen statistics, I've seen people that got divorced, people that left their relationship. The reason why they left their relationship is the reason they've always been complaining from the beginning. So if you've been complaining about something from the beginning, it's definitely going to be the reason you're leaving, right? Because they don't change. It will never. They've showed you who they are, and they're not going to change. So if you're not going to accept, or you cannot take and live that kind of lifestyle, just leave. To be on the safer side, just leave and move on to the next person, or just, next. Because seriously, they do not change. And I feel like we women, we're kind of taught to, be understanding, be, forgiving. We are more, you see a woman take a lot of things that men do not take from women. The things that we women take from men cannot take them from us, right? So because of the way we're taught. But then if we start learning from these men and, whatever they cannot take, we say we don't take it, I feel like relationship will be better. What is your take on today's video? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section respectfully. It's your favorite girl again, Maria Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe, and please turn on the post notification bell so you can get notified as soon as I upload another interesting video. And I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.